Okay, I guess we need to talk about it now, especially since we already did the favorites of 2021. Now, we gotta talk about the most hated of 2021. As always, these are my opinions, nobody else's. Maybe my opinion is concurrent with yours, but I assure you that is a coincidence. These are my opinions, nobody else's. Also, I didn't put these in any specific ranking system or any specific order. I am just presenting them to you as is. And of course, I didn't see every single thing that came out. Nobody has. Okay, we got the rules out of the way, let's just get on with this clown show. Before we get too far in, though, I've got 2 dishonorable mentions this year. Not 1, 2. Breaking all kinds of new ground here. Although, to be fair... These are both on the dishonorable mentions, basically for the same reason. And that reason being, did we really need this? Dishonorable mention number 1, Cruella. Yeah, some people would say that this deserves to be on the list proper, and if I actually sat through more than like the first 10 minutes of the movie or so, I'd probably agree with you. The fact I could even see my way to this movie after looking at the trailer is nothing short of a miracle, but goddamn, I just could not take this movie even remotely seriously. I was still getting over the fact that we are giving a redemption story to Cruella fucking DeVille. The woman who wanted to make puppies into a coat. Oh no, but it's okay, it's totally okay, you see, because, you see, Dalmatians killed her parents, so, you know, revenge and whatnot. Look, I get it, you know, making female villains 3-dimensional and tragic and making them more human is totally the fad right now, you know, because as everybody knows, women aren't just born evil, they're made evil by some external force that turned them into broken, horrible monsters. Usually a man, because you know how men are, they're all perpetually evil with no exceptions whatsoever. Every single one of them just, you know, fuck men, right? I am so canceled. And you could totally make an argument for characters like Harley Quinn and maybe an argument for the Wicked Witch of the West if Oz the Great and Powerful is as canonical as I think it is, but Cruella? Cruella DeVille, really? No. I say no. Dishonorable mention number 2, Netflix's Cowboy Bebop. Much like with Cruella DeVille, I did not get very far into this show because, holy hell, this was bad. And I knew going in it was going to be bad, but I went in anyway, and then I immediately went back out saying, no sir, I didn't like it, not even a little bit. Whereas Cruella DeVille's movie was a bit more on the preposterous side, live-action Cowboy Bebop was just on the why? Why would you make this a live-action show? Why don't you just buy the rights to the anime from Hulu or whatever? I don't know. This seems kind of like an exercise in pointlessness. So yeah, both of these ended up on the dishonorable mentions list, mostly because I felt like they didn't need to exist and because I barely made it through any of them because... ugh. Won't you join me with the stuff I actually saw to the end? This is my most hated of 2021. Drink up, it's gonna be one hell of a ride. How the hell does Melissa McCarthy keep finding work? Seriously, this woman isn't funny. Nothing she does is funny. And you can maybe make an argument that it's the material that she's been given, but honestly, I'm starting to think no, it's her. Ugh. I've barely even started 1 beer and I've already got the burps. This is gonna be a long video. So first of all, you got Melissa McCarthy basically being Melissa McCarthy. Like, I know that's not her name in the movie, but every time I see her on camera, I see her as Melissa McCarthy. Like, she cannot retreat into her character. She can't convince me that this woman on camera is a different character from Melissa McCarthy. This is Melissa McCarthy doing her usual, hey, I'm just gonna talk random words and throw everything at the wall, and maybe when I've finally taken a breath, somebody's laughed. Then add on the fact that this is your basic superhero movie. Like, basic, not even bad, just basic. You know, it follows all the beats you've already seen from pretty much every attempt at a superhero movie, dating all the way back to way before superhero movies were even popular, you know, like Blank Man followed this exact formula. I can't think of any more off the top of my head, but you know what I mean, just like, you've seen this movie before. Even if you've never watched Thunder Force, you've seen this movie before. And I say Melissa McCarthy is just the person throwing random crap at the wall and hoping you laugh, but really, that kind of sounded like everybody in this movie. Like, everybody just talked incessantly. And nothing they said was ever funny. Like, even a little bit. It was so obnoxious. I genuinely can't believe I saw my way to the end of this movie. I wanted to tap out so badly. This movie sucks. End of story. Next. Oh, Jesus Christ, this one. Oh, man. The Prince is one of those shows whose reputation precedes it, you know what I'm saying? I'd seen a few people talking about it on Twitter before I myself sat down to watch it, and nobody had anything nice to say about this show, even a little. So I had a bit of a warning going in that this wasn't going to be good, but I went in and watched a couple episodes anyway, because I'm fucking stupid, I guess. Let me put it to you this way. You know Family Guy by now. Surely you've seen Family Guy. You know, one of those cutaway gags where they cut to like random celebrities and it's not funny and it's really on the nose with how much the celebrities in question are just hated by the people making the sketch comedy. Basically imagine that, starring the royal family of England, stretched out across multiple episodes of TV, and you basically have The Prince. The Prince is essentially a Family Guy cutaway that has really worn out its welcome. And I'm not the first person to make that observation, but after watching a few episodes myself, I definitely believe it. I don't think I laughed once the entire time I watched this show. If I could describe this show in one word, it would probably be boring, which is a death sentence if you're a comedy. I mean, hell, even a bad comedy is better than a boring comedy, because at least a bad comedy leaves an impression. Admittedly, yeah, not a good impression, but at least it left an impression. A boring comedy like The Prince left no impression. I will not be watching any future episodes of this show. I would strongly discourage anyone else watch future episodes of this show. Just don't do it, and there's better things out there. Next. Bird Girl. Man, tell you what. When I went into Thunder Force, seeing Melissa McCarthy was the star, I had a pretty good idea of what I should expect. When I went into The Prince, I at least knew that other people were kind of warning me to stay away because it was a boring show and it's a Family Guy cutaway that wore out its welcome, etc., etc. Bird Girl is actually one of the biggest disappointments of the year, because I had really high expectations for this show, because it's based on the Harvey Birdman universe. I love Harvey Birdman. It's probably my favorite of the original Adult Swim shows. Like, second only maybe to Aqua Teen Hunger Force, and even then it's kind of a struggle for dominance atop the pyramid, if you know what I'm saying. But Bird Girl? Wow, this ended up being such a disappointing show. First of all the people who deserve a spin-off, Bird Girl is like at the bottom of the list for me personally. But okay, let's see what they do with it, if nothing else. Like, I mean, if anybody deserved a spin-off, maybe it was Reducto, or I don't know, maybe Harry, that hippopotamus character whose name is I'm blanking out on. I really shouldn't be this drunk this early on. But okay, let's give Bird Girl a shot, you know? I mean, how bad could it be? He said unknowingly. So I watched the entire series from start to finish on HBO Max, and, this show was pretty bad. This show is almost like the anti-Birdman in just about every sense. Like, none of the original characters come back at all. Like, there's no Mentok the Mind Taker, there's no Reducto, there's no Hippopotamus. In fact, the only returning character was Bird Girl herself, and they introduced other characters like Nair the Mind Taker and Dog and Bucket Hat, who, by the way, was probably the one good character in the entire show. I love Dog and Bucket Hat. I will admit that a lot of Harvey Birdman's sense of humor was built around the premise of alienating the viewer and kind of making them feel like they were on the outside of an inside joke, which is weird because somehow I still managed to find it funny and still got a lot of the jokes. But Bird Girl just genuinely feels like it's flat. It just doesn't appeal. Add on the fact they decided to make it a half-hour series as opposed to the usual, like, 11-minute, 15-minute cartoons that Harvey Birdman followed, and it's just a long drag. Oh, and before I forget, there is an episode, I think it was episode 4 or episode 5, where Nair the Mind Taker basically uses her mind-taking power to brainwash one of her co-workers into sleeping with her, and then erases his memory afterwards so he can't talk about it. I'm pretty sure that qualifies as rape. I've had a beer or two at this point, so I might exactly be in fighting condition, but I will still die on that hill. That was not funny. That was, this works both ways. Bottom line, this show is a fucking disappointment, and I cannot recommend you avoid it hard enough. Man. Please tell me the next one isn't going to inspire me to drink. God damn it, Santa Inc. Oh man, this show. So, anybody who follows my YouTube channel knows that I only did one episode of Holiday Cheer, and I probably promised more than one, but after watching Santa Inc., well, that and trying to figure out how to make the autofocus on my camera stop, which, if you've been watching the video this long, as well as my favorites of 2021 list, you know I finally figured out and stopped it. But for the most part, after I watched this, I was basically done with Holiday Cheer for 1 year. Fuck this show. Fun fact, if you hate Santa Inc., you're a white nationalist. You either love this show with every being of your heart, or you're a white nationalist. There is no middle ground, according to Seth Rogen. And I know I already made that joke in the review, but yeah, that doesn't inspire a lot of confidence, you know, just... I really wanted to like this because I love stop motion, you know, stop motion, claymation. I'm a sucker. I love that stuff. And unfortunately, this show decided to be an absolute pain in the ass for the 4 episodes I watched, which is about 3 more than I probably should have watched, because, oh god, it only gets worse from here on in. If you're looking for something to watch over the Christmas season, avoid Santa Inc. In fact, avoid Santa Inc. every other time of the year too, because this show is fucking terrible. I cannot stress that enough. I hate this show so much. Oh man. Well, there you go. What could possibly be worse than Santa Inc.? I don't think I can find anything that'd be worse than Santa Inc. at this point. Now, you know what? No, I'm not getting another beer. I'm not doing it. I am not associating alcohol with this level of pain. You know, I feel like a hypocrite because if you haven't seen my favorites of 2021 list, I talked about a friend who declared blood feud on Kevin Smith because he didn't like Masters of the Universe Revelation. He hated it. He despised it. And he said that it was so bad that he would never give Kevin Smith another dime of his money as long as either of them lived. And I remember laughing about it because it's a fucking cartoon, man. It's not like he made fun of a religion or something, you know, just... Then Mortal Kombat 2021 comes up, and this is one of those moments where I have to be the pot who called the kettle black, I guess, because I watched this movie when it came out, and I fucking hate this movie so much. You have no idea. I already reviewed this movie back when it first came out on HBO Max, and if I'm being entirely honest, I probably held back quite a bit of my anger towards this movie because, god damn it, this movie pissed me off so much. And yeah, I'm going to be the first to admit I'm one of those guys that's going to scream betrayal the moment that one thing is off. I admit that. I'm going to be that one guy. But this movie did so much wrong. It's not even a Mortal Kombat movie. Several days after I uploaded my review to YouTube, I found somebody else's review. I think their name was Miss.GG, I think. I'm sorry if I'm getting your name wrong, but somebody else made a review of this movie, and they pointed out something that hadn't really occurred to me when I was making my review. Not only is this not a Mortal Kombat movie, this is a Marvel movie for beat to beat. This is a Marvel movie featuring Mortal Kombat characters. Like, you've got the snarky character who does nothing but jokey jokes. In this case, Kano, because as everybody knows, Kano was seduced to the dark side in Mortal Kombat. Not really, he was always a bad guy. And, you know, you got the character who has to overcome the odds and overcome adversity, you know, because she doesn't have the special chosen one mark like everybody else, except she totally gets it at the end anyway, so fuck it, whatever. And it's just, there is so much this movie does that pisses me off. If I explained everything this movie did wrong, it would take forever. So suffice to say, this movie is probably the worst thing I've seen all year. And yeah, I said I wasn't going to rank anything, and I said I wasn't going to put these in any specific order, but if I was, this movie would be the worst thing I'd seen all year. Worse than Santa Inc., yes. Worse than The Prince, yes. Worse than Thunder Force, yes. Worse than a lot of other movies that came out this year, yes. Because I know I'm the pot calling the kettle black, but, you know, I hated this. I hated it so much. I went on record saying that Mortal Kombat Annihilation was a better movie than this. I went on record saying that, and I'm not sorry. I can never take that back. This movie sucks so much. Oh my god. Bottom line, do yourself a favor. If you want to see a Scorpion story told the right way, go watch Mortal Kombat Legends, The Revenge of Scorpion. It gets a couple of things wrong continuity-wise too, but they're so small and insignificant that only a total nerd like me would ever notice. Also, it's just a better made movie through and through. And that's gonna do it for this year's Most Hated of 2021. Thanks for watching, and I hope you could put up with the fact that my chair went all over the place. Long story short, camera issues. Here's to 2022. And I'll see you next time, my friends.